Yep,
Uh,
all good.
so first question, go ahead and you can say your first name and last initial. Say your age, where you were before you started, and what you were struggling with.
Yeah, so Sam P, 28 years old, started at 260 pounds, 6'5". I think that's important. Um, and so what I was struggling with mainly, before contacting you, I mainly was trying to use cardio as my only tool to lose weight, and I didn't put enough emphasis on diet. I think, 5 days of healthy eating gets completely negated by 2 days of unhealthy eating, right? For me, it was the weekend, Friday nights, Saturday nights, even Sunday sometimes. But, any work I put in during the week was lost in those 2, 3 days.
Right.
Um, and that was really my main struggle, was trying to change. Well, what I've learned through this journey is I needed to change my habits, right? That was the hardest part, and really the only part that was missing for me.
Mhm. Okay. So you were mainly doing cardio. Were you working out? Were you doing resistance training at all, or not really?
No, no, not no. I would
Okay.
just say no.
Because it's only been 3 months. How do you feel in the weight room compared to what you felt then?
I, I definitely feel more comfortable with what I'm doing. I think the biggest thing that you told me also was like confidence is a big thing, right? Like, as you start, you start with lower weights and you're kind of not scared to move up, but like, oh, there's no way I could do that.
Right.
And like I learned like, yeah, you can do more than you think, right? Like you just have to push yourself and realize like and focus on form, right? Like
Mhm.
you need good form. You don't want to increase weight without good form, but like if you have that down, you can go farther than you think. So I definitely feel more comfortable and confident in the gym now.
Right.
Um, my gym was my home. All I had was a bench and dumbbells. And
Mhm.
then I have an apartment gym which had what, three machines that you've told me to use. So it wasn't like all out gym. It was basically a home gym.
Mhm.
And it's, getting the routine down, feeling confident, comfortable, going in there and being able to pivot, right? When I walk into the gym and the machine is taken, I just looked up another exercise that does the same thing, and I would go back to my apartment and do it on my bench with my dumbbells.
Mhm.
I wasn't. What I learned is I don't need to do the exact thing every single time as long as I'm doing something, right? Like that's what I at least find important for me, right? I don't know
No, that
about
makes
others.
as long as you're hitting that same muscle group that you're working on.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. And then in the 3 months that we've trained together, I believe you've lost a little bit over, what is it, 27, 30, 33 pounds now?
32 pounds as of today.
Okay. And then apart from just the weight loss, what other benefits have you seen in just training and being consistent?
Um,
You
I
mentioned
think it would.
habits earlier.
Yeah, so a habit that I've literally never broken once in these 3 months since I've started doing it is when I wake up, the first thing I do is go for a walk. 45 minutes.
Love that.
I have a loop I really love,
Mm,
and it's a great way to get the body moving. Well, really, I have like a whole routine now. That's like,
mm,
so, wake up, weigh myself, chug some water just because I don't know, I always feel thirsty. You can go 8 hours without water. And then I go for a walk, and I have never missed that walk in the 3 months. That
right.
we like that is my most consistent habit, I think, that I really enjoy and gonna keep forever. Like it's just that's something I really like. Um, and then food,
Mm,
right? That was my biggest, oh God, that was the hardest part to change. But it is true. Once you get into the habit of it, once you learn more about it, it's easier to be flexible with it, right? So I was always asking you in the beginning, like, Frank, how do I get this amount of protein? Like, that's crazy. 180 grams of protein. That's insane to me,
right.
right? Because when I was tracking what I was eating like, I think 120, 110
Mm,
grams of protein per day. And you bumped up to 180. I was like, this is impossible. There's no way. But, once you gave me the tips of like keep tuna cans around and just focusing on whole foods, chicken breast, like those easy proteins. Like I don't eat ground beef really anymore because Not because I don't like it. I do like it. Like I'll have a burger probably, but I
Yeah,
don't buy it because it wasn't lean enough. Like the calories were not worth the protein. And
exactly.
you can take that as a benefit or a negative, however you see it. But I don't know. Healthy eating habits, I think, are becoming more apparent to me and sticking more with me.
Mhm.
When I have to pivot from my meals. But it does come down to, I eat the same breakfast every morning, mainly the same lunch, or two different lunches that I always have stocked. Um, and then sticking to those, and then knowing if I don't have something, I always have a backup, or I know what to look for. Like at a hotel or breakfast, go out to eat, get the grilled chicken sandwich rather than the fried chicken sandwich. And those little things I've changed with my dietary habits
Mhm.
is, I think, a big win for me.
I agree, and I think long term that's going to make the biggest difference, even more than all the exercises you learn to do, and even walking. I think just having that ability to just pivot with food and eye food and be like, okay, that's not it. The calories aren't worth it for what I'm getting out of this. So let me just have something else.
That's another thing, yeah, right, with cravings. Like I think two, three, four times before going out for like ice cream or having like a Pop Tart for breakfast, or like I sort of procrastinate that decision. And if
Yep.
I procrastinate it long enough, I'm thinking about it more and more. I'm like, that's not worth it. Like it's just I don't want it that badly. Sometimes I give in and I say it's worth it,
Mhm.
but it has to go through the rigorous
Right.
15 minutes of thinking about it before, you know what I mean?
And that's good. You should still be able to enjoy those foods, especially after once you hit that goal, because you're not even me. Sometimes I still eat Popeyes. You're not always just going to eat a strict clean diet all the time, but just having the ability to rationalize all that and say, you know what, I've exercised this much today. This is my goal for now. I don't want to do so. That's I think I agree with that. Another habit that we discussed when you first started with alcohol. How are you doing with that compared to when you started?
I mean, honestly, I should bring Sarah, my girlfriend, into this, and she could tell you, it's 100% different. Don't I don't think we've had alcohol in the house she's not a big drinker anyway, but it was me. I
Mhm.
don't think we've had alcohol in the house for at least 2 months, 2.5 months, because
Oh, wow.
it's just not like it's sort of what we're coming back to, right? The calories aren't worth it, and they
Right.
are worth it when I go out with friends and I have a few beers. Then, like, yeah, that's perfectly fine. But like, I don't need to have a beer after work. I don't need to have a six pack sitting in there for me for such a stressful day.
Right.
Like, beer is not that's not going to make me feel better. I mean, it might give me a little buzz in the moment, but like it's
Is
not worth it for like the consistency of being consistent every day, like weekdays and stuff, like weekends maybe. But yeah, it's definitely my drinking habits have completely changed.
Mhm.
And really, even in public events, like public spaces, like I don't go out to get drunk. I don't drink too much. I have a couple, I see where I'm at, and that's it. I've had weddings in the past month that where I just completely held back. And not because it's because I wanted to, right? I'm on a diet and I want to stick to it, and I can still enjoy myself, but I don't need to overindulge with it.
Exactly. Yep. I love that. Man, it seems like you definitely got the full benefit of my program because at the root of it, I would say this is more than just, hey, here's a meal plan, here's some workouts. I actually want you to pick up those habits and learn why you're doing what you're doing.
Yep.
At the root of everything that I do with my clients is just about awareness. Like you've gotten the awareness with food, you've gotten the awareness with alcohol, with the knowing that cardio is not the best way, the only way to lose weight. So with all that together, I really do think that long term you can succeed on this on your own. You can do this, long term.
Yeah, I mean, and I appreciate everything that you've shown me, right? I mean, this is what we talked about on day one is you're going to give me a blueprint, and it's going to be execution and learning, questions, knowledge, like knowledge transfer. And you gave me all of that, right? That's why I got here, is because not only did I follow what you gave me, but I also asked you a ton of questions and stuck with it. And, you were obviously helpful with not only knowledge, but also accountability, right? I mean, whenever I was thinking about the cravings or wanting to do something else, I was like, I know I got to talk to Frank next week, and I don't want to go with another. Like, the motivation was it was more, it was higher with you, and that's exactly what I was looking for with this program. So I'm
I love that.
very happy with the results, and like you said, the habit changes, because I think that's the long term piece that I've been missing.
Right. I think. Let me see. I think that was pretty much all the questions I had. I have two more. One I'm going to ask after I end the recording. But the last thing that I want to ask is, what would you say to somebody on the fence of doing an online program? Because I the first trainer you've worked with,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
and it was online, so it was completely new for you. What
Yep.
would you say to somebody that's on the fence, considering one getting a trainer and then considering one working online with somebody?
I guess I'd say, well, it's tough, right? Because you're my only trainer, so like I don't know what it's like to have a in-person one, but what I can say is you you're going to be given all of the same tools that an in-person one can provide because really it comes down to your execution every single day. There's
Right.
no difference there. And again, I don't know much about in-person trainers, but like I feel like you would be more available because like you have your cell phone number, we can text you any questions we have, like you're always responding, like you have social media groups, you have weekly check-in calls, you have like other people you could talk to. So I I I I don't see the downside of it because I realized that when someone asked me, they're like, "Oh, it's an online one." I was like, "Yeah," and it works really well for me actually because as you know, one of my big things was I don't have a gym. I don't want to go to a gym. If I wanted to go to a gym, I would get a personal trainer there. That was the whole thing is I didn't want that, but I needed someone like you who could help me through the workouts and answer my questions and give me dietary advice, all that stuff. So I mean, I would say if 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 you're even on the fence thinking about it, I would say go for it because I was on the fence for it for like 6 months, and I wish I had started sooner. And you know what I mean? Like it's not going to hurt you to learn and try and see if it works out for you.
Right.